You're listening to Real Restaurant Radio, the show that inspires up-and-coming restaurant and bar owners, along with current operators, to pursue their passion in the restaurant business. I am your host, Kostas Lazanas, and I'm joined, as always, with my good friend, Cary Hodson. Let us guide you through the process of being a successful owner and teach you how to make an impact in today's culinary world. Welcome back to Real Restaurant Radio. What's going on, Cary? How you doing, man?
Pretty good.
We got our logos in.
Glad to be here. Yeah, the logos look really good.
You like that?
Yeah, he did a good job. Really captured our personalities.
I think it's perfect because you have like this like long, awesome beard, and I'm like clean cut, so it's like the contrasting characters. That's kind of what was in my head when I decided to go with this logo design.
Yeah, I didn't know about that website. Maybe you should plug them or
Fiverr.com.
Fiverr.
Yeah, check it out. I use it all the time. I used it for my intro logo for my. Anyway, just go on the website, check them out. They have website design. They have graphic design. You just got your van wrapped on your vehicle too. Maybe they could have helped you with some design work.
Yeah, the company that did the van wrap has in-house designers. So
Okay.
It just kind of depends on who you're using.
Exactly. Yeah, carwrapcity.com.
Yep.
We both use those, ironically.
I don't know if it's ironic. I think I asked you.
Oh, so okay. Well, I didn't know if you went ahead and I don't know if you remember me telling you that or not. I thought maybe you just ventured around.
No, I called and that was the only personal reference I had, so I went with them.
Okay, very nice. Well, what are we talking about today, man?
You just got back from vacation. I'm about to go on vacation.
Cool.
Mine's a work trip, of course. Yours is all pleasure, right?
Yeah. Well, I did do some vlogging, and I ate at a Greek restaurant, and
Well, there's always work, but
I think when you own a restaurant, no matter where you go, you're always like analyzing and like picking apart other restaurants that you're dining at.
yeah,
So,
my wife and friends used to say like, why do you have to do that? Or, we walk into a restaurant, I'm like, I'm going to go to the restroom real quick. And they know I'm just walking around, scouting the place out and seeing how things are working. And
I do it every restaurant I go to.
Now
man.
she does it. So
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, very nice.
I'm disguising my trip as a work trip, but we're going to the Great American Beer Festival. And I guess getting some inspiration and spending some time with my head brewer. And it's going to be a good trip.
Where's that held at, the Great American Beer Festival?
Denver. So
That's the Napa Valley of beer, right? Isn't that what they say?
yeah, I mean, it's kind of been the epicenter for a while. More breweries per capita than most places in the world. And
But I think the rest of the world's catching up, man.
we'll see.
Dallas is especially, right?
We're making some pretty inspiring beers in Dallas. So
Okay. Oh, when are you leaving to go to that?
Wednesday. So we're taking a drive. So I'll bring you back some beer.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Maybe we'll have a beer review on our next podcast from the Great American Beer Festival.
That could be fun. Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. Are you gonna have a booth there, or are you gonna enter any beers, or
We just entered the competition, and then we're not bringing a booth.
what beer did you enter?
We did our honey basil hefeweizen in I think a honey ale category. We have our barrel aged braggot, which is a mead beer hybrid. Don't Haze Me Bro, which is the Brute IPA, but there's no Brute IPA category yet, so it's under experimental. And then I can't remember what else. Oh yeah, our barrel aged bourbon barrel Scottish ale. So
That's exciting. Was there a lot of paperwork that went involved
it
into
wasn't
getting
too bad.
entered?
I think
Your typical
Yeah.
name, number,
yeah,
type thing,
category, description,
and probably a price.
and
Probably a fee.
A fee.
Probably.
Sure.
I knew there'd be a fee in there probably somewhere.
That's the thing about the booth. It's kind of expensive, and are we really going to drive traffic to our restaurant
ROI,
from
right?
Denver?
ROI.
Yeah, I'm not sure about it.
Return on investment for all you guys that are.
Plus, I've never been, personally, so I'm kind of go see how it works. And
I think it'll be really fun. I've been to some beer festivals here in the Dallas Metroplex, some that are really awesome, some that were okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think actually we met at one, the Brewers Ball.
Yeah.
Kind of like a upscale. I thought that was a pretty cool beer festival because that was like only the very best of
It's at the Omni Hotel.
It was like a really like everything was barrel aged.
There's food there. Right.
So I enjoyed doing that, and that's put on I think by Matt Dixon with what's the name of his company?
Dallas Brew Scene.
Dallas Brew Scene, Brew Bus. So that's cool that he's bringing that, kind of highlighting some of the local breweries. But yeah, going out of town's a big deal when you own a restaurant, man.
Yeah, I don't know how you did it.
I don't know how I did it either.
No, I think that's part of what we're talking about today is how do you prepare for going on vacation,
So I think it's, guys, if you're going to go on vacation.
You can't just shut it down.
You can't just shut it down. It's, unlike other businesses, right? Like an accounting firm, you schedule everybody before your vacation and then after.
Right.
Or something to that effect.
I mean, some business owners do it really well. They don't spend any time at their restaurant. I think we're probably the worst people to give advice on this, but
probably
to the people who feel the way we do, which is the restaurant runs better when we're there, and I want to be there to support my staff. How do you continue that while you're gone?
Let's be real. That's probably like 90% of restaurant owners. There's only that 10% that have like created this.
Right.
Web of management,
right,
or who can afford this,
sure,
all the overhead of a strong management team. But yeah, so this year, and I've taken vacations in the past, and this year I felt the most comfortable than I ever felt before. Before I would go on vacation basically blind, I would make a phone call every day, and that would be the only type of communication I would have with my staff. This time it was so nice because
who do you call?
I would just call the restaurant. And
whoever's
on duty, hey, how's business today? How's your shift? How is everything going on? Keep in mind, I run a restaurant with 3 servers at lunch and 4 servers at dinner, so it's a small mom and pop restaurant. Those of you who are listening that have never actually eaten in my restaurant, so I don't pay for a manager. Like I make a joke that my servers are the managers. I don't want to. I just can't afford to hire one person to watch 2 people. It's just not. It's not economical for me. It's not feasible for me to have a manager's salary. Whenever you see the servers making $15 an hour, how much do I got to pay a manager? They got to make at least $20 an hour.
Well, I mean, you have one bartender too. Are they do they manage the staff in some way? Or?
Usually, turns out the way it works is usually the bartender normally is the head person.
Okay.
But really, I have a designated bartender only on Friday and Saturday.
So they tend to be older, tend to help with the schedule, or more
just
responsible
tend to have a
with
bigger
the
brain, because the other factors are really irrelevant. Whether the age, I've learned the age, and everything else is kind of relevant. It's just person, I'm sure you had some younger employees that have probably been better than some of your older employees. Am I right?
Sure. Yeah. I guess it's experience.
and mindset and work ethic. I think those are even bigger factors there.
Sure.
So yeah, this time I felt so comfortable. I had my computer, my camera is actually downloaded onto my iPhone, so I'm able to open up an app on my iPhone.
Your entire security system.
And see all my 9 cameras.
Okay.
I can take a screenshot.
That's getting more common. We have something similar.
Yeah, and I had it in place already. I just never actually downloaded the app and got it on my phone and got it working where I can do it remotely. And now that I'm doing it, it's almost like having a watch on your wrist. You're always checking what time it is. So I notice when I wear a watch, all I'm doing is checking the time. Now that I have this app, all I do, especially whenever I'm away and I'm on edge, that I'm just so nervous about how the restaurant is, I'm just always opening up that app and checking out the restaurant. It's cool. I can take a screenshot and send it to the employee and be like, "What are you doing?" And that way they're on edge too. They know they can't get away with anything anymore.
Yeah, I think you'd want to be careful about being kind of big brother to them too, and give them some space and to trust them. So empower your managers or empower your employees. I'm sure you have some techniques for that as well.
Isn't that such a thin line though between empowering them and making sure it gets done right?
It can be. The old phrase, don't do anything I would do or wouldn't do, however you want to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like every time I leave, my staff really steps it up, and they, don't want to have to report something bad happened, or they don't want to have to answer to a bad review. So typically, I just kind of look at our sales numbers throughout the day, and then if there's a spike or a lull, then that's when it prompts me to check my camera. So.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you feel that, and I guess you would never know, but do you feel that having a quick service restaurant like yours, where there's just a line, there's so much less room for error? When you deal with servers, there's so much room for error with the steps of service that you necessarily don't have. What's your opinion on that?
There's 2 sides to that coin, for sure. Servers, fluctuate. but they're also trained to be a server. Most of my guys pull double duty. Everybody does everything, working in the back or on the block. And that block guy, the guy, at the counter serving you, has to be knowledgeable about the menu.
Elaborate what the block is.
The block, you're coming up to a wood block, and they're pulling out a brisket or sausage or chicken.
Cutting board.
And cutting, yeah.
The cutting board, the block. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Just for all our listeners out there, I want to clear that out.
Barbecue stuff. But they have to be good at both. They have to be able to educate people on the menu, smile and be friendly, upsell, and skilled with the knife, and be able to cook the food. So it's kind of...
And it's hard to have all that in one person, right? Sometimes people are better at the customers, but then they over-portion or under-portion or...
Sure. Yeah, then there's all of that as well.
Yep.
Or catching, something that might have sat too long, or, making sure every plate looks really good. We've spent
quality.
Spent a lot of time saying, all right, here's how you cut the meat, which direction, here's how you plate the food to make it look this uniform and the same every time, because we live in this Instagram culture now, especially with food, where people are taking pictures of everything. So you want to always kind of give them the best experience possible every time.
No, I agree with that 100%. I think that, but I don't know. I still feel like I have one up on you. I think that having, this 20-year-old server, I don't know. I just feel like the service industry is just so hard. You deal with so much stuff with servers than you would from a quick service. I don't know. It's just my opinion.
For sure. There's a reason we don't have servers. But it did take a long time for our guys to have a rhythm and how to communicate to orders to the back of house, how to run, care about ticket times and just putting the tickets in order, to have complete orders go out instead of partial orders and then having to run to the table twice.
Exactly.
But we've been pretty lucky with a low turnover rate. So we have a lot of guys who've been with us. We have a couple that have been since day one. We have 6 or so that are over a year. So it's nice to be able to have a team that's been together a while. And so when a new guy comes in, everybody can help train them. Yeah.
That's great. Mm-hmm. Do you feel, and I want to ask you this question before we talk about what you're going to do to prepare for your awesome vacation, but I was always wondering if you had just a beer ferry that would kind of, maybe especially on your patio that you have, would just go out there and maybe order a beer for somebody instead of them having to maybe get up and walk to the bar. Do you feel like you're leaving money on the table by not having somebody just almost like a quick beer only or alcohol only, hey, let me grab you a beer?
That's a good point.
Because if you're stuck in a crowded room, you don't want to get up.
Sure.
If somebody says, hey, you want a beer? I'm like, yeah, sure, just give me one beer. I wasn't going to get one if I had to get up and walk to the bar.
We experimented with having, what would you call that? Some sort of table service where if they've already started a tab, we'll run out there if we're super busy and have one of the bartenders run out there and take beer orders. It gets, I don't know. We spent so much time training our customers that we are counter service and communicating that, and we have signs up, and we don't want to kind of
retrain them,
shoot ourselves in the foot too much.
I agree with that.
And then other customers feel like they're getting a different level of service because they saw someone else get a beer.
Good call.
And nothing's worse than having a group of people come in, sit down outside on the patio and not know what to do and wait 15 minutes, get pissed off.
Yeah.
And so they already have a bad taste in their mouth by the time they get the food and beer and whatnot, which could be great, and you might be able to turn that around.
Sure.
But they may never tell you. So
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather stick to what we're doing.
I like it. I like that.
Yeah.
I was just curious. I just thought about that just now on top of my head. I was thinking,
I mean, what else do we do to prepare? I guess we've started doing more manager meetings, kind of look at the week of caterings together and make sure everybody's well supported. Double check your schedule, make sure we're fully staffed and everybody's on the same page, and make sure everybody knows you're out of town too, so they know what kind of to expect when they come into work. What's
your real quick, because I've just been staring at this beer. I'm not sure if it's in in camera or not, but this is the hibiscus wheat you brought here.
Yeah, that's one of our distribution beers. One of our favorites. It's 7.2%.
Top selling beer that we carried at our restaurant from you guys.
Okay, cool. Sold faster than the IPAs.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
We still got it if you don't want another one.
I've been hitting that Brute IPA.
How about a refresher? Yeah, it's a Belgian wheat brewed with hibiscus flowers, coriander, orange peel, beautiful color, pink.
I like it.
Yeah.
I only want half now. I'm just getting my day started.
Well, it's the first beer of the day.
That's right.
What do they say? One beer a day keeps the gym away.
Something. I'm sure it's good. Hey, cheers, man. Thanks for bringing that by. Let's dive in real quick before you go on vacation to the hibiscus wit. The nose is really great. I like the nose.
Yeah, nice floral citrus nose. The hibiscus adds kind of a tartness to it as well.
It's like nice medium bodied.
Mm-hmm. The wheat gives it that good body and kind of smooth mouthfeel, and then also hides the alcohol percentage too. Pretty well,
you would never know. I would think I'm drinking a 6%. What did you say it was?
7.2.
7.2. So I mean that's an extra, which every percentage really stacks up.
Yeah, especially when you're drinking it in pints.
Exactly.
So
carbonation is really well as well. Mm-hmm. Well carbonated, not overly carbonated. Which some wheats tend to be a little over carbonated. Have you noticed that?
They're supposed to be a little higher generally, especially when you get to saisons.
Okay.
Can get up to like 3 volumes of CO2, but you never want to get past the point. You don't want to try to make it too crisp. You don't want it to be that carbonic acid bite, that sting. So we tend to keep them a little lower.
Okay, really cool, really cool. Well, thanks for bringing it, man. I can definitely get used to having beer reviews during our podcast.
Yeah, it was a nice break.
So you're leaving. I want to ask you a question. Management structures. You talked about management reviews and sit downs. Like, who's your manager? Or do you have a manager per shift, or how do you schedule? How do you compensate? Like, where are you at on the managerial side of things at this point in your restaurant career?
Yeah, we're pretty different from you. We have a pretty big team of family working there. My dad's working in the kitchen. We have a shift lead at night, Brandon, who's doing a really great job. And my wife and my brother-in-law work there. So my wife's my equal. My brother-in-law is our GM. Kind of play different roles. He opens every morning, and either I close, my wife closes, or our pitmaster Josh will close. As well as Brendan will be filling in some of the other responsibilities. So I think when you go out of town, it's actually a really great opportunity to give your managers or your employees some space to grow and kind of meet beforehand, like I said, with the manager meeting, and then come back and say, hey, so how did it go? And just listen. So that's what I'm looking forward to, is hearing kind of how the
feedback is.
Right, how they handled things, and where they thought they could have been set up to fail, or where they could have been set up to succeed better. I think this time when I come back, I'm going to try to focus on being just extra positive and receptive to what they have to say.
Sure.
And not just say, oh, this, I saw this, and this that were wrong. There's always there's always a way to educate or improve in a positive way. So I
agree with that. I just got back basically, and I haven't had a chance to sit down with the staff yet from my 2 weeks gone. So I need to sit down and talk about that. But the customers definitely let you know what's up. Get those reviews coming in.
Sure, and that can make you upset.
Good and bad. There's a lot of 5-star reviews too, but you might get 1 or 2, 2 or 1-star reviews.
Well, so your method of always responding to reviews, positive or negative, you do a really good job at saying, hey, thanks for the 5-star review. You're a 5-star customer, blah, blah, blah. Maybe employ some of that technique with your staff.
And I do. And I'm like, hey, guys, check this out. 5-star reviews. You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
And I always shoot that message to them as well. So
it's perfect. Good
stuff, man. Well, I hope you have a great time. What else is on the agenda today to talk about?
I'm about to start doing to-go orders for the first time.
You're a little late to the game, man.
I know. Well, with with our menu being, mostly cooked 12 hours in advance, it's been hard to, and the first come first serve model, it's been hard to justify selling food to go because we don't want the person in line to not that's physically in our restaurant to not get what they want because someone else called in the order
So
while
you don't even take
they were in
call-ins,
line.
basically.
Mm-mm.
So if I call in and be like, hey, can I order a quarter-pound brisket? There's nothing you can do for me.
No, we're still not going to take call-ins.
I see that. Okay.
So the way we're going to conquer that is we're going to have a separate inventory of food and basically a different menu. There's overlap in the items for the online service only.
I see.
And when that's out, we turn it off. So it's kind of running two businesses out of the same kitchen.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I've had a lot of success with Uber Eats and Grubhub and Eat24. And I think we may have mentioned it on the first episode, but for me, it's been a game changer. I showed you the numbers that we were putting up before we went on air. And, I mean, sometimes on a Tuesday night, there's nobody in the restaurant and just the deliveries are just going,
or
out
when
the
it's
window.
raining.
Or when it's whatever the reason is. And it's just like, I can't justify not having that turned on, not having that income coming in whenever nothing else changes on your bottom line except for your food costs. Because I haven't increased my kitchen staff. Mm-hmm. I haven't increased anything else. The rent, all the other overhead is all the same, but all this revenue is coming in.
Sure. So, well, the hard pill for me to swallow is they take a percentage. That's
you
for
give a
the
little,
service.
You take a little. That's life, Cary. That's life.
I know.
That's my opinion. That's how I rationalize it.
But if it's 30%, it can really eat into your profit really
sure.
quickly. But what I wasn't thinking about is what you just said is there's no extra added overhead.
Exactly. And what I like to say, and what I tell other business owners that are hesitant about it, because I know we've had this conversation over a beer or two in our past, is use your online platform and your online presence as a marketing tool to drive business inside your restaurant. I put a buy one entree, get one half off, which is an aggressive coupon inside of each Uber Eats order, which these people will just randomly choose my restaurant on their phone out of a list of restaurants, and they order the food, they eat the food, they say the food's fantastic, and then lo and behold, they have a coupon, dine in only, so now they're going to go and check out my restaurant and sit down in my chairs and have that experience. And now I've just gained a customer for life, all from an app that was put on by a third party. So I'm trying to look at that bigger picture whenever
it's also a marketing tool.
That's what I'm saying. It's a marketing tool to drive to people who are directly ordering from you. It's not like you're marketing to just the general public. You're marketing to people who are actually ordering your food that want to enjoy what you offer.
Yeah, and do you think that maybe since you are a Greek restaurant that people aren't necessarily familiar with or accustomed to that style of food, you think people are more comfortable ordering it and eating at home than just getting in their car and visiting right away?
I never went that deep. I think more along terms of I'm just another restaurant in a strip mall.
Okay.
And people just drive by strip malls that have restaurants in them, and they're like, oh, it's just another restaurant in a strip mall. Like all these little restaurants that we have in the Metroplex, you just drive right by them because they're not a standalone building.
Sure.
I think you have the advantage of being downtown in a destination type location.
Right.
Whereas I'm just kind of a drive-by in a strip mall. So it's hard to know what's inside the package until you go inside, And that's why I love just going to just random restaurants. You just never know. I mean, some places are pretty grungy and ugly, and it's like nobody really did anything to them. But, I mean, we've had lots of reviews where they say Opa is a gem in this little strip mall, you know? So I'm really proud of our decor and our interior design and, all the furnishing.
I mean, you're good at putting enough content out there that people can almost experience being there just by visiting your Facebook page or your YouTube channel.
I think we both do that, Cary.
One of the first things we did, which we got lucky and were able to kind of barter for, which was to have the Google walkthrough, because thousands of people are on Google looking at anything you put up there, and everybody researches the restaurant online before they go to it. unless they have a personal recommendation. But that fits into a different category of word of mouth. So being able to have a person get on their phone and walk through your restaurant, I think is pretty beneficial as well. And it's not that expensive, and it lasts forever. Unless you make some major changes to your restaurant, then it'll be there for a long time. So
what are you going to do? You're going to do, I know there's a lot of different ones. I know they're all national. So anyone's listening to us across the nation, I think they are going to understand which companies you're deciding to sign up with.
Certain neighborhoods don't get Uber Eats. They're only launching in certain bigger cities. I think we're lucky in Dallas that we kind of are getting them all.
Amazon?
Yeah.
Amazon has their own.
Fresh, Prime, delivery, all of it.
I think Amazon is only in Frisco and Plano, which is just north of our areas. I don't think Garland and Rowlett qualify for Amazon. They have their own Uber Eats platform.
Yeah, I can see that. We're talking about these platforms. I'm going to use a platform because I don't want the liability of a delivery driver. I think you do both, so you might be able to elaborate a little bit on kind of the positives and negatives. One strategy I've seen you use is your delivery driver isn't solely a delivery driver. They're bus, or they do dishes or prep.
Yeah, I think it's good because you can pay for a quote unquote delivery driver, but just when you hire that person, especially when delivery drivers aren't like bumping, just know that he could almost be like an insurance policy, as far as like being an extra set of hands just in the restaurant when you're busy, like being a busboy, like you said, or being a prep or something. There's always something to be done in the restaurant business. Can I get an amen?
Sure. Yeah. Man. Well, and gosh, that's a whole nother subject. We talk about how to keep people motivated and off their phones.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
But right. If you're there to manage that, or if you have someone who is self-managed, that's one of the greatest qualities in an employee I can think of, as someone who's self-managed. If you can kind of say, well, if you're not doing this, I need you to do this. Then yeah, I can see that working out really well. I'm scared of having, the liability insurance for them driving if they hit somebody. I think most of the time they're driving their own car.
That's usually, I think, I haven't dived into the legal aspect of it, but I would just assume that since they're taking their own car, but I guess they are on business hours doing business things. So I guess that we would be liable for any accident, injuries, and stuff like that. So
sure, call your insurance company first, right?
Exactly.
Grubhub kind of takes all of that, or Uber Eats kind of, those online delivery services are taking all of that liability out of our hands, which is another kind of pro when I'm trying to decide, is it worth this? They're not just taking 20-30% of your
they're also offering
overhead. They're providing a service, and if they provide that service well, then I think it'll be a good relationship.
So let's break it down. So we got some companies that will give you a driver. We got some companies that will get you the deal. And there's a big difference between the two. So Uber Eats is going to charge you 30%, but they're going to offer the driver, and they're going to offer the brand and the volume.
Right.
But they're going to take a slice of that pie.
Sure.
That they feel like they're entitled to.
Well, the driver needs some too.
But they put the numbers up. So
do the drivers come with hot bags?
They come in all shapes and sizes.
Okay, so it's just kind of
exactly. You got some
favor.
You got some gung ho drivers that come in there like fully loaded. You got some that just don't know what they're doing.
Okay.
So you obviously worry about quality of food.
Do you set a range of delivery service for each one of those?
I think all the online companies will set one for you. Like a 5-mile radius or 3-mile radius, whatever that is.
Sure.
But it's amazing because you didn't realize that there was such a huge market for online ordering. Like, oh my goodness, like it's just insane the percentage of sales that people are coming in and ordering off these companies. But yeah, so that's the one where they provide the driver, and then you have the other one where they basically just give you the deal, where you have to deliver it yourself.
I think that's how Grubhub works right now. On the 18th, they're launching their own. They're kind of redoing their business model, and they're going to have their own drivers.
Okay, well.
So look out for that.
Yeah, I think right now they're doing. I don't want to say a percentage, but it's a pretty low percentage. I'm not sure if they're going to increase a percentage to make up for that because they obviously have increase their overhead now, you know?
The way I understand it is if they bring you the customer, it's a higher percentage. If it's a return customer, it's a lower percentage. Or if you bring the customer, like if it's through your platform or your website, if you can get the feed to run through your website.
And Grubhub just bought out Eat24, which is owned by Yelp.
Right.
I'm not sure if you knew that too.
That's a positive thing in my book.
Kostas and Cary are officially anti-Yelp, just for the record. Statement.
Sure.
So, anyway, well, great. Well, wow, there's so much more to talk about, but let's go ahead and wrap up another episode of Real Restaurant Radio, and we will listen to you guys next time. Or you'll listen to us next time.
I hope so.
Wow, this hibiscus wheat really got me going over here.
You're feeling all 7.2% of that one.
I'm telling you, that was only half a can too. Well, hey, thanks again, guys. Thanks for listening to us, and definitely, we're gonna. I think in the next episode we should be able to give you guys a email address to email any questions in. We want to answer some questions. We're trying to think of a lot of stuff right now, but as we're kind of developing our website and our logo and this brand and this company, we're just kind of doing it off the cuff. But I think over the next few episodes, you'll start seeing us have some real questions from you guys. We want to empower you guys and bring some knowledge and kind of break down the barriers to entry to owning a restaurant and operating a restaurant from two real restaurant owners.
Yeah, I think they're taking the time to listen, and we should talk about stuff that people, might need answers to. And maybe they ask a question that, we hadn't thought of and will improve as well. I think in the meantime, they can go to your website and email you through your website.
Sure, absolutely.
Likewise here. So
yeah, so just in case you're listening to this one, it's lazanask@gmail.com.
Yeah, I'm at Cary at intrinsicbrewing.com.
Oh, you get it. Yes.